Hey everybody, Turtle here. So with this whole stay at home and social distancing thing going on, a few of my friends have reached out to me and said, hey, what video games do you recommend? What can we play together? And for me, I would get super excited because this is a person that doesn't really consider video gaming to be something that they're into or would have ever considered before. So I would get super excited and just start sending over a bunch of game recommendations. They would get overwhelmed and potentially just give up for the most part. So what I decided to do was kind of find a handful of games that I think are really good games for people that are new to gaming overall, as well as games that support really good capacities and experiences to play with other people, so that you don't feel so distanced while you're social distancing. So without further ado, let's check them out. To start things off, I want to talk about one of my favorite games as of recently, which is Final Fantasy XIV. So you've probably seen the Final Fantasy franchise pop up in social media or on the news, and they're talking about Final Fantasy VII, which just came out last Friday. It's a really popular game, and it's like a remake, so it's a lot of nostalgia for a lot of people. But unless you have $60 and a PlayStation 4, you're not going to be able to play the game. So Final Fantasy XIV is a really good alternative to the game, and you don't need to know anything about Final Fantasy to enjoy the game. It's a completely standalone story, a complete standalone game that's a MMORPG. And what that means is it's a massively multiplayer online role-playing game. So basically all that means is just it's a lot of people playing the game at the same time, and everybody plays a specific role. Now, the reason I'm recommending this first is because it's so expansive. Now, first things first, it doesn't cost anything up front. You get a really generous free trial. I've actually been playing on the free trial for almost 3 months now, and I'm not even halfway through the content. So you really get to try out the game before you need to go and buy it. And invest money into it and really get a feel for the game, and you just get to roam around this huge world and explore things, go on quests, team up with players from all over the world and work on goals together. Everyone's extremely nice and extremely helpful in the game. I haven't had 1 ounce of toxicity while playing this game. Everybody's been super nice and super friendly. The game itself is visually stunning. The mechanics, I will be honest to start, it is a little bit draggy at first, but the game just really wants to make sure that you understand what goes into it. You're going to feel really bored at first, just going to feel like I'm tapping my one key over and over, waiting for this cooldown. But just stick with it. Once you get to level 15 on your chosen role, things really start to open up. That's when you start to get to go do dungeons, you get to go on more intense quests, and once you get to level 25, things really start getting crazy, and you really actually start having a really hard time. And if you stick with one role and you get to level 25, you're gonna be having a really good time really quick. I honestly can get lost in this game for 6 hours just roaming around, looking at things, doing side quests, doing main quests, doing level building quests. There's just so much to offer, and I can't recommend it enough. Really think you should give it a try. It's a free trial. What do you have to lose? Now, the next 4 games I'm going to be talking about are all couch co-op games. So what this means is that you can sit on the couch with somebody, or you sit at the computer together, or have 2 computers, however you want to kind of like link it up. And you can play together in the same room and in the same environment. And if you're not in the same room or the same environment, a lot of these games offer online play as well, so you can play together remotely still. Now, the first one I want to talk about is Diablo 3. Now, Diablo 3 has a really special place in my heart. It's one of the biggest bonding times me and my husband have shared together. We've spent so much time playing this game. We've actually replayed it. We love it. It's, if you like pushing buttons really fast and, going through things and collecting items, equipping items, becoming stronger, working together as a team with you and whoever you're playing with, it's a lot of fun because kind of like in Final Fantasy, everybody plays a specific role. So you really have to work together to make sure that you're covering each other on your weak spots. So It's a lot of fun. It's really easy to pick up, and it's easy to get lost into. It's what we call a dungeon crawler, which just is like a isometric side scroller. So there's not a lot of camera mechanics that you need to kind of figure out or anything like that. It's mostly just focusing on your skills and abilities and leveling up your character. And also there's a really nice storyline that goes along with it. Once you get a little bit further into the game, the story really starts picking up and gets a little bit more intense. Definitely recommend this one. If you're not into the concept of having to push buttons really fast and move around a map, and you want something that's a little bit more laid back, For the King is a really good option. It's basically a board game that's also a video game. So you roll the dice and you can move specific spaces. You can buy certain items to help you be stronger, to help your teammates out, to heal yourself. The game is very descriptive. It helps you learn everything that you need to learn. I will say, just as a heads up, the game is difficult. It requires a few gameplays through to kind of get the hang of it, and you need to buy items from the store in game that you don't spend any money on it. It's just currency that you earn in game that helps you better the map itself and what's going on in the game, that helps you be stronger and get things faster and get through those tough spots. But it's a lot of fun. Seriously, you can play this game for 8 hours over and over again because you really want to get through the game. Now, if none of those games before sound like anything you're interested in, don't worry, this whole video isn't built on that. Overcooked 2 is completely different than those. It's basically just, you and however many people you have in your living room or at your computer, and you're basically just trying to put orders together. The orders come in and you have to have somebody on prep, you have to have somebody on dishes. You're just running a really fun cartoony kitchen that has fires, and the maps get more challenging as you go through. Some of the maps move, you can fall off the map. But it's a lot of fun. It's really easy to pick up. It can get heated at moments because you really get invested in getting these orders out and getting the highest score that you can. But it's just a really fun, laughable game to play that actually requires a lot of teamwork. So it's a really good team building kind of game, and also a lot of communication needs to go on as well. So definitely something that I recommend for you to check out if that sounds like something that would be fun. My free mobile recommendation for the couch co-op category is going to be Brawlhalla Lost. Basically, it's a Nintendo game, so it's going to be a little bit more cartoony. It's going to have a really good storyline. They, made it free, so it's on Android and iOS for free. You can play with somebody in your living room. You can play with one of your friends from the other side of the states or the world. And yeah, it kind of has that Diablo vibe where you go through these things called dungeons, and which is basically just a lane with enemies that you need to attack. But it's really simple to learn, and it's more about spending time with your friends as well as learning about these characters, their world, and them taming this dragon and becoming them to take on their foes. So definitely recommend this one. It's a no-brainer for me. It's free, and I've really enjoyed playing it. The next 4 games I'm going to be talking about are in the couch multiplayer or online multiplayer category, which basically just means instead of couch co-op, where you cooperate together to work for the same goal, you are now fighting against each other or pitted against each other to battle to whoever can win. So this next game is called Brawlhalla, and as you can see, it's heavily inspired by Super Smash Bros. So to kind of piggyback on that Nintendo vibe from Brawlhalla Lost, if you've ever seen Super Smash Bros. Or ever heard about it, it's the same concept. It's very similar. It's also cross-platform, which is a huge bonus for this game, and it's also free. So that means I can be on my PC, you can be on your Xbox, and we can play this game together and just have some fun. So it's free and it's cross-platform. I think everybody should have this in their game library just for one of those fun game nights. This next game is in the category of what's called auto chess. So this is kind of like a card game, but not at the same time. It's more about strategic approaches and making decisions based on a lot of different unique parameters of the game. So basically, long story short, you get gold every round, and you can buy cards with gold. And whenever you stack 3 of the same character together, they level up basically 50% better. If you do that twice, then they become a level 3 character, and they're super strong. It's based on a game called League of Legends. You might have seen me talk about it before, or you've heard a friend talk about it, but it's not League of Legends. It's just kind of in the same world. It's on mobile, it's on PC, and it's on Macintosh, so it's free as well. For me, I love the fast pace of the game. There's a lot of good humor into it. It's very competitive. There is esports league around this as well. Definitely think it's a really fun game to learn, and if you're into strategy and making quick decisions, and you like challenging your brain in that way, this game is going to really suit your fancy. I spend a lot of time playing it, and I didn't think that I would, but I do now, so definitely recommend Teamfight Tactics. So if you're into card games, but you're not into a little bit more of like a quick decision kind of card game, and a little bit more of a tactical approach to card games, Duel Links is out there. If you've ever played Yu-Gi-Oh! This is Yu-Gi-Oh! For free on your phone or on your computer. I've put a lot of hours into this game, and so has my husband. We used to play it a lot, and I'm not sure why we don't do it. I think we just got distracted by other games, to be honest, but I still have Duel Links installed on my phone and on my computer, and I definitely pick it up from time to time to see if I can get some good cards and level up my characters, and even play PvP. You can play this with friends if you want to kind of go against each other. Definitely recommend it if you're ever into Yu-Gi-Oh! Now this last game is kind of going back into the Nintendo vibe. You've probably heard people talk about this game or seen people talking about it, but it's Mario Kart. It's free for your phone. You can play with people in your house, over the lake, whoever you want to play with. It's a really simple game to navigate. There's not a lot of a big learning curve. You have to go through a couple of circuits before you can actually unlock the multiplayer, but I think it took me like 15-20 minutes or so. It wasn't a big deal. I've had a lot of fun playing this game. I think it's a really good game for people that liked Mario Kart and kind of wanted to keep playing it. I think it's a really fun and engaging game, especially in a time like this. And if you don't have those consoles or a good computer to play games, this is a really good option as well, just because it is so easy and so accessible. So all of those games were based on multiplayer games and games that you can work together to achieve a goal, games where you can fight against each other to achieve your goal, or anything in between those two realms, and people that you can play with in your house or a friend from down the street, whatever. Those are the premise of those games. But in this next set, I want to talk more about single player simulation games that for me are very relaxing, hit me in a lot of nostalgia points. I've found to be a lot of fun. So I'm going to break into some single player relaxing simulation games that I think you guys might enjoy if you didn't like the sound of any of those other ones. To start things off in this category, you probably already know what this game is. This is the game that started it all for me. I played this game for way too much time when I was a kid. If this is a game that you've played, it's available on your phone. It's available on PC as well as Macintosh. Just make sure that you get the classic version. The Roller Coaster Tycoon touch and all the stuff that Atari's done ever since Chris Sawyer left the franchise and moved to work with Frontier has just not been the same. So Roller Coaster Tycoon Classic is definitely a good nostalgia game if you're into it. If you're into the idea of playing a roller coaster tycoon type simulation game, but you don't want to deal with the 16-bit resolution and kind of play through scenarios that you've already played before, Parkitect is a really good option for you. It's a brand new game. It came out, I think, 2 years ago. A friend of mine is the scenario developer for this game, so I've been following it since, really early on, and been hearing conversations, even before they've made like big announcements. But the scenarios in this game are very, very close to Roller Coaster Tycoon, with a few new kind of perspectives into the game. So definitely recommend this game if you like the tycoon simulation, roller coaster kind of ideas of playing a game. This game you can build in for hours, and I love the art style of this game, and it's really fun to build. There's a lot of really fun, just small touches that they put into this game that make it really enjoyable. The last game I want to talk about in this relaxing single player simulation category is Stardew Valley. So Stardew Valley is a one-man show. One developer made this game. It's available on mobile for $5, and on your computer it'll be $15, but that's because it comes with multiplayer. So if you're seeing people playing Animal Crossing and you want to check that kind of game out and it interests you, this is a really good alternative for you if you don't have a Nintendo Switch. Basically, this game is going to be somewhere in between The Sims and Farmville. So you have to collect resources, plant things, and you basically just try to survive off your land. But it takes it a little bit step further to where it's more like The Sims, to where you can develop relationships with the people in your town, as well as, if you're on multiplayer, make friends and all that kind of stuff, meet people. So I think it's really cool, and you can even start a family with somebody. I'm not sure if you can do it with somebody in multiplayer or not. I play it on my phone, so I know that for me it'll just be an NPC or a non-player character if I ever decided to marry somebody in my town. But it's a lot of fun. I can sit there and be on my phone, and 3 or 4 hours will go by, and I'm just super relaxed. I'm super chill, or taking a bath, whatever. I really enjoy playing this game and just trying to build my assets and make this farm and this town my own. So I have 2 bonus games for you in the single player capacity, but they're not simulation games. So maybe you want to play a game by yourself, but you don't want to have to sit there and do resource management, and you don't want to have to deal with park guests throwing trash everywhere and hiring janitors, or tilling your crops or whatever. So these next 2 games are 2 games that for me are really close to my heart. I think they're really good single player games. I think they're really affordable right now, and I think they're really good for people that just don't have a ton of video gaming experience and don't really know where to start. They're super accessible and just really, really amazing, captivating games to get into. So the first game I want to talk about in this bonus category is a game called Gris. Now, Gris is a indie platformer that has an amazing art style. I mean, if you're looking at this game right now, oh my goodness. When I was playing through this, I was just in constant awe of how good the art direction was on this team. The watercolors are being hand painted, and then they coded that into the game. Just the background behind these 7 to 10 people that made this game. I researched them for 35 minutes to an hour after I was done playing the game, because I was just so amazed at the product that they put together. There's not a lot of dialogue in the game. I don't want to give the story away to you, but it's all based on art and audio and just being immersed in this world. It tells a beautiful story. It definitely just takes you away and really brings you into a very empathetic, emotive state that is a really zen place to be. Definitely recommend checking it out. So the last game in this bonus category is Shadow of the Tomb Raider. Shadow of the Tomb Raider is a Lara Croft story. It's the newest game in the franchise. It's a 3D puzzler, so that just means that you're getting through puzzles in a 3D dimension as opposed to a 2D dimension. Now, I know for a lot of people, they don't like 3D because the camera movements are a little bit hard for them, but since there's not a lot of combat, it's very stealth focused. So when there is combat, you need to be stealthy to actually get through it. So there's, not a ton of stuff that you really need to worry about. And honestly, if you have a hard time getting through the combat or through the puzzles, put the game on easy and go into it for the story. The story is worth it. The visuals are worth it. It's a beautiful game to look at. The storyline is really good, really, really good. So definitely recommend this one if you want to pick up something that's really engaging and also challenging at the same time, but also offers a good storyline. So yeah, definitely check out Shadow of the Tomb Raider if that is something that you would be into.